feel free to submit questions at any time. To be transparent, there's really no sales pitch on this call. We're just kind of here to discuss and talk about what's going on. So I already see some questions coming in, so guys, don't hesitate to send them in. Make sure you post them up in here so we can get to those. I figure this is going to probably be about an hour webinar, maybe a little bit longer. So I'll let you guys kind of continue working on that. Just give you an update on kind of how things are going on my end. I just recently made the move into a new place, so we're super excited about that. We're going to have some real fun videos coming out, and we're making the most of our time here, so having fun doing that. We have a nice big store launch coming tomorrow, something where this is going to be a little bit different for us. We're going to be trying some stuff really based around obviously paid ads on Facebook, but not just for product ads. We're going to be doing actually a lot of content, and we're going to see how that's going to kind of translate into sales. So we're super excited about that. The first ads are launching tomorrow. Already have a pretty big product catalog out there, so that's going to be something new. I'll definitely share the results on how the first couple of days go inside of my my Mastermind group on Facebook. So I'm going to look for some questions now, and again, this is going to be recorded, so we'll take advantage of that. But we got a question from Richard. Do you make most of your money through Shopify or through selling classes to people? I definitely still make probably, I don't wonder what percentage. Let's see. Well over 80% of my money through Shopify. I don't see Shopify slowing down for me. In fact, I expanded my team here locally in terms of how to expand, my footprint on the Shopify side of things. So I'm constantly testing new niches, constantly looking for new product, constantly optimizing and scaling ads for my Shopify stores. So there's absolutely no doubt about it. I'm still making the bulk of my money on Shopify, although I can't lie that this is starting to really pick up in terms of doing coaching as well. So that's been fun. I'm thinking all you guys can still hear me, right? I had only one comment that you guys couldn't. If you can't, if DBZ Pro, okay, if it goes back out again, just close back out and come back in. That normally solves the issue. So I got your question on there, Richard. Let's now talk to Tracy Support. How do you find an evergreen niche to market to and use products to sell to them? There's no way around it. I mean, it's all about testing. So I'll go a little bit in depth in terms of how I test. But there's no way to know that you have an evergreen niche until you have products that are consistently being sold. And you never can sell products until you run ads to your store. And you can never run ads until you do interest group research to figure out how you're actually going to reach those people. So there's no magic bullet. There's definitely formulas and strategies that I teach in terms of how to best set yourself up to find evergreen niches, but there's no way to just automatically uncover one. So I'll go into a little bit of depth about how I will set up the tests, right? So it's all about testing, like I said. So you really want to be able to figure out if a niche is worth sticking in or not within only a few dollars. We're not talking about $100, $200, $300. If you're just blindly going in and throwing $100 at the wall and seeing what sticks for a niche, you're not going to have a good time. It's going to be tough. You need to be organized with your tests. You need to have a plan in terms of what you want to test. I mean, obviously everyone's plan is to make money, right? But I mean, when do you need to make money by in order to say the niche is worthwhile? What metrics are you looking for? Maybe it's maybe you really want to break into the dog niche and you're willing to spend $200, $300, $400 just because you love dogs and you want to make money around dogs. That's great, but most people are not going to be attached to a niche for some personal interest apart from the monetary interest in there. So you need to be controlled. You need to be super smart, super calculated when you're making your tests. One way to go about that is to identify as many different ways to reach the niche as possible. So this is where you're doing your actual interest group targeting, right? You're going into the ads manager or audience insights or power editor, whatever it is. You're going to go through there and basically you're going to see, how many interest groups are there? How many interests are there for this niche? So let's say for dogs, for example, there's hundreds, probably thousands of interests in there. Well, again, you can't just advertise all 1,000 interests in 1,000 different ad sets. That's going to be way too expensive. We don't want to spend thousands of dollars to test a niche. We want to spend as little as possible. So we want to do little control tests. Don't pick every niche. Pick the ones that you think, don't pick every interest. Pick the interests that really can match up to the product that you're selling. Try to, it's all about making your best guess. And there's, I have no hesitation with using the word guess, because that's what it is at the start. You're gonna set yourself up. You're gonna find little indicators of product to customer match, and you're going to test them out, but it's all going to be meaningless until you actually start having data. So again, you're going to be one way to make this organized is take out a piece of paper, take out a Microsoft Excel document, whatever, and actually start listing all the interests out there and start building interest groups. Use the intersects, flex targeting, see how dialed in you can get. And this is even before you look for a product. I want to make sure that I'm able to reach people on Facebook and that there's a lot of different combinations of how I can reach them, not just hitting the same interest over and over. So I'll look for that. Then when you do that, again, before even looking for product, you do that. Now you can start doing tests and saying, okay, I spent 15, I spent 20, I spent $50. Am I generating sales in this niche? I don't need to be making hundreds of dollars. I just want to know, am I generating sales? Because if you could generate sales from a niche, then it's worth your time to figure out if it's evergreen. So, no, you're never going to find an evergreen niche in $10, $20 of testing, but you're certainly going to find assumptions that you could then further test to see if this is something that you're going to want to stick in. And guess what? Let's say you go and spend a whole day's worth of research on interest groupings in that niche, how to target them. That's going to be invaluable to you over the next couple of years if you do stick in that niche. I mean, that's niches that I've been working in since 2013. Sure, I've added some new ways to target, but for the most part, I'm hitting the same types of targeting. So the research that you do there, like I said, don't skimp on it. Spend a whole day if you have to, because it's going to be it's going to be priceless later on. So hopefully that answered your question, Tracy. Support. Got a lot more questions. Let me skip to Dan. How many products in your store launch? Well, what I typically, when I test niches, and I test a lot of niches, and you already know this answer, Dan, in terms of what I would recommend for a brand new niche, and that's three free plus shipping and 3 full price products. Now, this store is actually predominantly t-shirts. This is a little bit different for me in terms of it's not a niche store, but it's more of a general t-shirt store. Again, it's tied with some heavy content. So the numbers and the metrics and the starting points are going to be different for me. I have, I already have 40. I have 40 shots. 40 shirts already. And Norman, no, there's no screen share or slides for this. We're just kind of talking off the cuff here, answering some questions. And if I need to share anything, I definitely will. But you're not missing anything at this point. So Dan, like I said, I have 40 SKUs in there. I could have 60 as quickly as tomorrow night if I want. It's a lot of t-shirts, so that's easy to get a lot of different product. But to start off, for any other store I would launch, I'm only starting with 6 products, and I'm really only going to be promoting 3 of them. So I don't care, I don't want to, I don't necessarily need to have so many products in there. I mean, basically I want 3 full price products in there just for the sake of people clicking around and browsing and related traffic, upsells, cross sells, things like that. So to get started, all you need to do is focus on finding 6 products, and you're good to go. That's when you can start doing some testing and things like that. Definitely don't get overwhelmed with searching for product. That's for sure. Excuse me. So let's see. Next question down here. How do you feel about licensed products versus free plus shipping products? Is it harder to start with licensed products than free plus shipping items? So that's from Jay. Jay, that's a good question. I think we're going to see a lot more licensed products being put into the marketplace. I'm not sure. Most of you guys probably saw the post in my group from yesterday. with just contained a ton of links from legitimate licensed distributors. So it's going to be way easier. They're going to start building apps that are going to hook directly into Shopify. We're all going to have the same Superman products and the same Spider-Man shirts and all that stuff. Which is not to say that they won't sell, because we could all sell the same product, and Facebook is so big we'd probably all have success if we hit it the right way. Either way, what do I think? To answer your question, I still think free plus shipping products are easier. No one's assuming that they're buying an unlicensed product, first of all. So the fact that you're selling a licensed product doesn't necessarily mean your conversion rate is going to go through the roof. So the idea with free plus shipping for me is that I want to generate data as early as possible inside a niche. And to do that, I want to start generating sales as early as possible. And clearly, it's easier to sell a $0 product than it would be to sell a $25 product. So I'm still saying that it makes a lot of sense to start with free plus shipping products, because you're just going to get data quicker. And guess what? You could take that data and then go on to the licensed shirts, licensed products, and use that data to kind of again, going back to the idea of finding where the buyers are. Using that data to now promote your full price licensed products. But don't expect miracle conversion rates just because the product is licensed. I mean, like I said, that isn't an actual selling point to customers for the most part, because they are for the most part believing that any product is licensed. So definitely stay away from I'm only need to say it once. Everyone knows, stay away from unlicensed products. I mean, that's just common knowledge at this point, right? So Jay, hopefully that answered your question. Getting a lot of good questions in here, guys. Don't hesitate to post your question up in here. I'm definitely going to focus on answering anyone's question who is actually in this webinar. So moving on. Next question from Norman, and I think is this San Fernando Valley, Norman? Just send me a comment if it is. But you're asking, what percentage of your traffic is Facebook ads? What other sources of your traffic do you use? I was actually just answering that question with someone else that I was speaking with. Hey Norman, nice to talk to you. So I'd say right now, on a monthly basis, we're talking about 90+% is Facebook traffic. Some small amounts of traffic would be from search engines, would be from email marketing. In terms of paid, it's probably closer to 95% of my paid traffic is Facebook. Starting to do a little bit in Pinterest for some niches. Definitely doing more and more every day on Instagram, and kind of this is how I tell people about Instagram. It's going to be great for sure. It already is pretty good. Basically, what you need to do is just to kind of get your feet wet in Instagram. You can make your first sale on Instagram tonight, and here's how you do it. Take your best product that you've ever sold on Facebook ads and simply turn it onto Instagram. That's it. Especially if you're using a photo post type ad, you can use almost the identical type ad. They won't really accept any text in the ad, but just have a lifestyle shot of your product. And if you've made sales or consistent sales on Facebook, turn it on Instagram tonight, and you'll make your first sale. So it's really nothing different. It's using the same data. The only difference is that there's just different people logged in. It's kind of the same idea of why you'd run a website conversion ad and a clicks to website ad in the same to the same exact interest, and that's because you might be targeting the same interest, but you're delivering to a different placement. So you're delivering to Facebook or you're delivering to Instagram. It's going to show a different subset of people in that interest group. So literally, you can turn it on tonight, and I would not be surprised if you got more sales, assuming that you had sales in the first place. You'd get more sales coming over on Instagram almost immediately. So let's see, Josh Johnson, you can post them right here, just like you did. So that was your first question. So keep asking them, okay? Let's see, what else do we have coming up here? We're definitely getting some really good questions here. Norman, thanks for that question. Where am I at here? Okay, if someone intends to open a few stores, 3 to 5 stores, do you recommend opening them all in the same general niche, or do you recommend going into different niches for each store? And the example, question is from JB. The example that I gave was, German Shepherds or Pit Bulls or whatever. To me, German Shepherds, Pit Bulls, those are sub-niches to the dog niche. So I think, this is a pretty unique case for dogs. You could either go with a German Shepherd only store, or you can go with a dog store. But if you were going to open 3 to 5 3 to 5 niche stores, I would say have dog be one of your niches. So inside there, you have such a huge array of people that you could reach. So you could have a German Shepherd category and a Pit Bull category and a Pug category and a Collie category, whatever. But that would go inside one store, and then your other stores would, you'd have a nursing store and a fishing store, and a teacher store, etc., etc. So dogs are a unique case where you can go either way, but for the most part, you're going to want to have one niche per store. Going back to Norman's another question from Norman: do you do ads to your full price products? Yeah, of course. I was only referring to not doing them at the beginning when I start testing a new niche. So if I'm testing a new store, I'm not going to run ads to full price products until I know where the buyers are coming from. That's where I'm leveraging the free plus shipping. Again, my idea here is that it's easy to generate sales from free plus shipping because we're only selling a $0 product. So I want to start my tests through there. Once I start figuring out where the winners come from, then I'm certainly going to go to my full price product because that's where I make my most money, and I want to be maximizing my margin, of course. So I'm going into ads to full price products at that point, but only after I'm figuring out where the buyers came from originally, and that's where, again, I leverage the free plus shipping stuff. Okay, so let's see. Got a question. How do I outsource? Do I hire from the U.S. or do I hire online? I do both. I actually have someone sitting in my office, my right-hand person, that would not be repeatable, or I would not be able to have that same experience with someone online. So I think having at least one person local is imperative. There's no amount of VAs that can actually make up for having face-to-face contact on a daily basis and figuring out solving problems right there. So I definitely recommend, if you're going to hire someone, if you're going to hire your first person, hire someone local to you, someone that you're able to actually meet with in person. If your budget doesn't allow for that, obviously you go the VA route. I have a couple of VAs, and I think someone posted a real good question in my group yesterday. What do you give? What do you delegate to VAs? And the question, the answer to that is anything that you don't want to do / that you trust them in doing. So there's a lot of stuff that I don't want to be doing on a daily basis, but I don't trust anyone else doing it, but me or someone in my in-person team. But let's say there's something like answering customer service questions, or at least routing customer service concerns to the right place. I mean, certainly something a VA can do. Adding product, creating ad imagery, creating product mock-ups, doing product research, doing interest group research. This is all stuff that your VA staff can do. So I leave the things that require more hands-on approach to the people in office, and then really anything else that is kind of time-consuming, that's easily outsourceable, that you trust other people doing, that's going to be what you want to use for online or overseas hires. Okay, another question. Any issues with the Chinese holiday and products shipping? I mean, we're all facing that issue right now, and I've seen some interesting ways that people have got around it. One way would be to order in bulk before the holiday. Obviously, at this point, that's impossible. For a lot of people, that's not even practical because you don't have consistent sales that are a number big enough to justify ordering that much. I was able to do that for a couple of my stores, but like I said, that's not practical for everyone. Basically, the most popular thing that what people are doing right now is just being transparent with the fact that the shipping times are going to be longer. So I've seen some stores where they are just talking about 50 to 60 day shipping, and I'm sure that hurts conversion, but it can't hurt conversion more than shutting down the store and not having any products, because that gives you a guaranteed 0% conversion. So even if you're dipping your conversion rate lower, it's better than shutting the doors. Basically, the same, people are doing another thing, which is really the same thing as just having extended shipping time, just positioning it differently. And this is just pure psychological. They're calling it a pre-sale. And that could work as well. I mean, maybe the conversion rate would be a little higher because you're managing expectations up front. They think that it's a pre-sale in terms of the product doesn't even exist yet, or at least it's not sourced yet. So they know it's going to be a longer lead time. But the bottom line is keep doing what you're doing. Just be transparent about it. You don't want to hide the fact that that the product's not going to come in the same e-packet window that it used to, because the fact that they're gone for the next 2-3 weeks. So until they come back, just edit your shipping times or call it a pre-sale, or if you were able to buy in bulk beforehand, do that. But I don't think really anyone's shutting down because of it. So, like I said, we're all battling the same issue. Let's see. What can someone do now that there is AliExpress shutdown? Okay, I kind of just answered that question, right? It's like you just have to be transparent. That's all you can be at this point. There's, you can't pre-order stuff. I mean, you can't order in bulk at this point because they're not shipping bulk either. So, just be transparent with your shipping times. Another question. Let's see. Do you drop ship from AliExpress or do you get your products from the USA? That question is from Tracy. Tracy, I get most of my products from AliExpress in terms of like small jewelry type items. For T-shirts, those are all coming from the US, and that's pretty much my main product. So if I have the opportunity to source something from the US on a free plus shipping site, I certainly would. It just doesn't happen because you're not finding the same type of pricing. So T-shirts is still a huge percentage of my business, percentage of my revenue. So obviously that there are plenty of sources in the U.S. where you can get your T-shirts. My favorite is still Thread Me Up in terms of what I like for T-shirt fulfillers that integrate with Shopify. So just great service over there, and I certainly recommend them. So I guess on the same note as T-shirts, I see a couple more T-shirt questions here. Do I sell anything other than T-shirts? Is it the main thing I sell? It's absolutely the main thing I sell in terms of revenue. It's probably 75-80% of my revenue dollars wise. It's the best product that I sell because it gives me the least amount of headaches, right? I don't have to deal with drop shipping. I don't need to deal with ordering in bulk. I don't need to deal with shipping. I don't need to deal with fulfilling the product. I don't need to deal with producing the product. All I need to do is get a design, hook it up to my Thread Me Up app, and then simply let the sales come in. They handle everything else. So that's why it's always going to be my main product. It's just the easiest thing to sell. Another question from Paul in management: How much do you pay? How much do you pay per your designers per T-shirt? How many designers do I have? I have 2 designers that I work with consistently. I pay between $15 and $30 per design. I think that an important thing when you're looking for a designer is, first of all, their understanding of the industry in terms of how to create graphics for T-shirts. I mean, you need to understand, obviously, the use of colors. Even if you're using DTJ printing, you still want to be smart about the use of colors. You want someone that is not going to charge you per hour. T-shirts, first of all, one T-shirt design shouldn't take an hour, but you don't want someone charging by hour. To me, that's a sign that they're trying to nickel and dime you. You want them to give you a flat rate per design, whether it's maybe $15 for a text design and $30 for a really artistic design. You negotiate some rate and some set number of revisions, so you're not just sitting there making 100 revisions. That wouldn't be fair either. But have a flat rate price, so they're not nickel and diming you. You really only need one designer unless you're doing some insane volume of T-shirts. So don't worry. Having one designer would be a huge victory for you because a designer is the same thing. Eventually AliExpress products run out, but having a designer is like having an infinite source of new products. So and not to mention not only new products, but the easiest type of product fulfillment. So find a designer, stick with them, develop a relationship with them. Give them a lot of business, so they'll keep giving you work. They'll keep giving you high-quality designs, and you'll all make money. Okay. So we got, let's see, follow-up question. For a newbie to e-commerce, do you suggest starting with one store, and if so, what interval do you suggest moving on to the second store and the third store, etc.? Yeah, I don't care if you're a newbie or advanced or whatever. I mean, you should start with one store probably. It's going to give just so you figure out exactly what works. You don't want to spread your focus too thin. So pick a niche. Pick one niche to dominate. Figure out everything that you can about the niche. Live inside the niche. Google everything that you can. Go to all the blogs. Check out all the fan pages. Do your interest research. Do all of your interest targeting research. Figure out where your buyers are probably going to come from. Get sales. Scale your ads. figure out what you're going to do with email marketing. I mean, you can see where I'm going with this. The list goes on. Once you figure out how to make everything work for your store, then you can go ahead and open up your next store, and repeat the process, and then go to your third and your fourth and your fifth store. But I mean, if you're just starting, there's absolutely no reason to start with multiple stores, in my opinion, because you just need to figure out what niche you're going to stick in. So like I said, start with one store, just one store, one niche. I got a question from Ashley. So if you only have 3 free plus shipping and 3 full price items, how are you making money? What kind of items are you using for free plus shipping? I don't care about making money at that phase, to be honest, Ashley. It's not about that. I want to figure out, can I sell to that niche? So even if I'm like negative, if I'm, let's say I spend 20 and I only make back 15, I'm cool with that, because I'm just trying to figure out where the buyers are. So and don't get me wrong, there's been months where I've made 5 figures on just free plus shipping products, and you can make money on those alone. But I'm just trying to get in and out of the free plus shipping testing phase, and then start advertising my full price products. That's where I'll make my $10, $12, $14, $16 margins on t-shirts and hoodies. I want to be advertising those as quickly as possible. But it's all about the testing phase. I want to make sure I can reach buyers in this niche before I go crazy and start advertising all these full price items. I have a t-shirt niche I want to break into, but I need a good designer. I have looked on Upwork, but how much should I pay per design? I need like 10 plus made. Question is from Henrique Anderson. It's a good question. I touched on it a little bit already, but you could definitely offer a volume discount when you're trying to negotiate a deal there. I think that a lot of designers are skeptical to that, because everyone promises that they'll give you consistent work, and then they just never do. So I wouldn't expect much of a discount, but if you could actually pay for 10 up front, I'm sure they'd give you a discount there. If they're really artistic designs, then I would be looking for probably at a price break, $20 to $25 if you're going to pay for all 10 up front. And Upwork is pretty good there. Again, you just have to get them off the idea of hourly. Les App Ventures, I'm not even sure if I'm pronouncing that right or whatever, but that's an interesting name. Is your free plus shipping products coming from China, drop ship to your customer? Yes. When I'm doing free plus shipping to break into a new niche, I'm drop shipping. There's no way around it, because when you're breaking into a new niche, you can't really rely on having a ton of volume. So you're just simply not going to have the volume to make the bulk orders. So yeah, I'm drop shipping them from China. I would love to drop ship them from the U.S., but margin wise, it just doesn't work. To collect $7, $8, $9 in shipping cost, the products are just more expensive. Richard, do you have any videos on how to create a free plus shipping store? I might have a few videos in YouTube that speak towards setting up the store in general. I don't have any public videos, unfortunately, on how to create the free plus shipping store. I mean, but in terms of what you need to do, it's relatively straightforward. You're still going to add product just like you would on a full price store. Just set the price to 0. The real magic is where you set the weight. You need to have the corresponding weights set up to your shipping weight rules. So let's say you want to charge $9 for a free plus shipping item in terms of $9 shipping. What you would do is create a rule for anything that weighs 0.5 pounds to be $9 shipping. And then what you do on the product side of things, you'd make sure that product weighs 0.5. So that's how you set it up. It's all about the weight-based rules. You need to have, and remember that you need to have all scenarios figured out in your weight-based rules. So I know for a fact I do have a video. It's called I think it's like my 2016 Shopify walkthrough. Just check out my YouTube channel, and there's a full setup start to finish in terms of how to set up a store and the shipping rates included. So that will definitely be very helpful for you, Richard, and for anyone else who wants to see the most expedited way to launch a new Shopify store. Another question from Dan. What is the most common mistake you see store owners do? I would say that they test blindly. That's definitely the biggest mistake, and they spend $200, $300, $400, $500 testing, and they have no idea if they should stick in the niche or not. They're break even, they maybe made a few dollars. They don't know where the buyers are coming from, and the interest groups are so muddled that they don't know if the buyers are coming from, associations or magazines or brands or whatever it is. So obviously the flip side of that would be someone who is very organized with their tests. I would see that those guys have the most, guys and girls, they have the most success because they set metrics of what they wanted to look for, and they either left or stuck with the niche based on hitting or missing those metrics. So let's see what else we have here. I did a free plus shipping on a dog item. I had lots of orders, over 500, but the customer service was a nightmare. It doesn't matter how much info you give to the consumer as far as shipping times or whatnot, they still file a PayPal claim. Yeah, well, that's growing pains for you. Everyone is definitely battling that issue. Customers are a pain. There's no doubt about that. Some of them are insatiable in terms of you could give them full refund and they'd still want to charge back on you. So, you're going to have to just deal with those, and eventually you get to a point. I mean, if you're able to sell 500 items, definitely seems like you had success in the niche. I would just go back to that niche and see what items you could sell in bulk again, and potentially, if you don't want to deal with the headache, you could bring those products in house and ship them out of ship them yourself, or bring them to a fulfillment center and have them ship them. But I hear you with the headaches from AliExpress, but like I said, those are the growing pains in terms of figuring out and doing those tests. Now, you will get chargebacks, you will get PayPal claims. I think there's really no way around it apart from just speeding up the shipping times by taking things in-house. Otherwise, just plan to continue to deal with them. And in terms of time-wise, just build a system in terms of how you're going to answer. Have a copy and paste type answer, so you're ready to go. Have a VA handling that maybe, and learn when to refund and kind of just accept that you lost the battle with some of these people, rather than get your PayPal account or Shopify account. Don't put those in jeopardy. Question from MK Sloan. How age sensitive is Instagram? There really are actually, it's kind of following the same pattern that Facebook did, and it's really starting to even out. I think that there are some niches, or more so that there's some products that work, rather than, it's not about age really, it's about kind of product and niche. Obviously, similar to Pinterest, it's so photo reliant that if you have a really good photo, or if your product looks, it takes good photos, if it looks good in the lifestyle shot, then it's going to work well on Instagram. Audience-wise, it's very similar to Facebook. So I wouldn't worry about not finding your audience. Even the grandma niche would be fine on Instagram for sure. I mean, that's probably one of the fastest growing demographics on Instagram. So yes, they're out there. Yes, you'll be able to reach them. If you have success on Facebook, then you'll probably have success on Instagram. Again, I don't recommend starting with Instagram, but move your winners over to Instagram for sure. But I haven't found it to be that age sensitive at all. I have multiple niches running on Instagram. Can you walk us through how you scale your winners? Any tips on doing that? Well, that's all about, I created very specific scaling rules to where, I'm looking for certain ROI percentages as thresholds for how and when to scale. So when, it's easy. For me, it's once a day, every morning, first thing in the morning. I want to do that because I want to have as even of a spend as possible. So let's say you scaled at 4 p.m. So you scaled from $10 to $20 at 4 p.m. Up until 4 p.m., your ad was spending at a rate of $10 per day. Now at 4 p.m., all of a sudden you raise the budget to 20. It needs to spend the remainder of that budget just over 8 hours until 12 midnight. So scale as early as possible to even out your spend. Do it consistent so it becomes just a part of your everyday, and that's going to be, like I said, as early as possible, first thing every morning. Now, how do I scale? I scale on an ad set basis. So everything is looked at on an individual ad set basis, and like I said, I created these scaling rules, probably one of the most valuable things that I teach my students. These scaling rules, can very easily take you from $200, $300, $400 days to $1,000, $2,000 days, and it's all about scaling budget. So again, this is on a per ad set level. I'm strictly following the rules that I create, and the rules can differ based on your risk tolerance. But let's say if you're at $5 and you sell 2, then the next day you're going to go to 10. If you're at $10 and you sell 3, you're going to go to 20. And if you're at 20 and you sell 2, maybe you're going to stick at 20. So you're at 20 and you sell 4, you go to 30. I mean, basically these rules are going to be plotted out well beforehand, so you're not figuring out what you're doing, and you're not scaling emotionally. You're not trying to stress about, how can you make your money back or whatever. You're just strictly following the rules that you plot out beforehand. And it's as simple as just looking at your sales for the past 24 hours compared to your ad spend, and then scaling based on different, like I said, different thresholds that you want to scale at based on your ROIs. So yeah, that's how I scale. That's how I vertically scale. Again, that's by budget. Everything is done on an ad set level. Everything will always come back to scaling on a budget, on an ad set by ad set basis. What I'll also do is scale horizontally. A very simple example of that would be a retargeting audience. So basically, I'm showing the same product just to a different audience. So that could be a retargeting audience. That could be, again, this goes back to that first idea of you want to be organized when you test. You want to know where your buyers are coming from. When you have all these interest groups where buyers are coming from, you start scaling horizontally to each and every one of these interests. So if you know that buyers are you're selling this product to people in the magazine interest group, you certainly want to scale to your other interest groups that have been winners in the past. And now we're talking about, again, going back to scaling by ad set, but now you're not only scaling one ad set, you're scaling multiple ad sets, and that's where you really can quickly get up to those $1,000 plus days. So that's how I scale. Like I said, it's by far the most important thing, or the thing that's gotten the biggest return on investment for my coaching students. Really scaling on an organized, pre-plotted out chart. So hopefully that was helpful, Francis. Do I turn on Instagram ads in the Ads Manager? Yeah, I do. I don't turn them on. I'll add them as another ad set when I want to scale into that. So I don't turn them on as I've originally create my campaigns. Can you explain how to start your research if you were targeting, let's say, hiking or camping? Because I'm a bit confused on how to do research. Well, it's definitely an art, not a science. You want to think about those top-level interest groupings first. You want to figure out what interest groups you can target, not the actual interest, but the interest group. So, it helps when you have a little bit of knowledge about the niche. If not, then you can lean on Google. But you're going to be thinking about top-level categories for hiking or camping. And I could just name some off the top of my head, like different brands. For example, camping brands, right? There's got to be 5-10 different camping brands, and there's stores. There's community sites. There are fan pages. There are TV shows. There are celebrities. There are probably associations. There's probably events and conventions. So these are all top-level categories that you can start to map out. What you want to do is then start going into the Audience Insights tool or Facebook Ads Manager or Power Edit or whatever, and just start kind of putting in interest into the edit audience box and seeing what Facebook kind of recommends out to you, and you'll basically extrapolate onto that. When you want to find out let's say the associations inside of camping, and you know nothing about camping associations, you go to Google and just Google, camping associations or most popular camping brands or most popular camping products, whatever it is. You just go to Google, start typing those into your Facebook ads manager, Power Editor, Audience Insights, whatever it is, and you just start building those audiences. Remember to, it all comes back to organizing by interest group. You want to find as many interest groups as you can, and then you go inside of Facebook and try to build the actual interests. And those, on an individual basis, find the actual interests that make up your audience. And I'll give a very clear example. Let's say you want to build a magazine interest for sports. You're going to go and get Sports Illustrated and the Sporting News and ESPN the magazine, and that's going to be your magazine interest group for sports niche. So you just build as many as you can for those, and then you just start testing with whichever ones you think are going to be the best to match up with your products. How many ad sets per ad, and what is the grouping per ad set? I'm doing one ad set per campaign, one ad per ad set. And then that's how I start to test. And then when I want to scale out, I'll scale by budget, and I'll also scale horizontally by adding more interest groups. So interest group and ad set is an interchangeable word for me. I have one interest group per ad set, always. So hopefully that answered your question, Mark. I like your LLC name, Mark. Best plan for scaling after you find a winner. I kind of touched on that. You want to pre-plot out where you're going to scale to based on different ROI thresholds. What do you typically charge for shipping on a free plus shipping campaign? I try to charge the maximum that I can in terms of what I think the perceived value is. So it's basically just an eyeball test, and I think, okay, out the door, would I be happy paying $7 for this? Yes or no? $8, yes or no? $9, yes or no? I've charged anywhere between $6.95 and $9.95 for free plus shipping. If you can charge the full $9.95, then definitely do so, because you're just going to increase your margin and make it much easier to generate more data in your tests. I wouldn't go any lower than $6.95 also on the free plus shipping, just because it gets really hard for you to make make any margin on that, and just even if you were trying to break even for the data at $6.95 or under $6.95 is just very challenging. When do factories and businesses start up again from the Chinese holiday? That's from Norman. Good question, great question. For my suppliers, it's really varied apart. Most are between February 17th and February 24th, somewhere in that period. So I'm planning for obviously the further, because I just don't. I take everything they say with a grain of salt. So I'm talking about probably February 24th for when they get back in. Who knows how quick they are in terms of actually getting started again, in terms of producing products, shipping it out, and stuff like that. So pretty much assume that all of February you're going to be without them. But we'll see. If people come back online on February 17th and start taking orders that day, then that's only actually 2 weeks from today, so really not that much more. We'll see how it goes. Like I said, everyone is dealing with the same problems right now, so it is what it is. Assuming that you recommend the new Facebook pixel, does it really only need to be installed onto the header of my store? First of all, I don't recommend the new pixel. I really am indifferent at this point. I was very much towards the old pixel, but we're really running out of time with that. If you have an old pixel already, then I recommend continuing to use that. For a brand new niche, then I'm just recommending that you start with the new pixel. But the old pixel is definitely still insanely valuable if you have data in it already. I just think at this point it doesn't really make sense to invest into building it out at this point. Second part of your question, that is not true. It needs to be installed into way more than just a header. That's a big misconception, and then this pixel has different actions that are associated with it. For example, view content. The view content basically means a page view. So that means that, in that case, it needs to be installed on the header, because the header is just a template file that gets basically shown on every single page. On the Shopify side of things, that's your theme.liquid file. That file will, no matter what page it is, cart, product, homepage, about us page, FAQ page, that's the bare bones skeleton of your site. Anything that you put in that file will get displayed on every single page. Now, on the flip side, you don't want the cart action to be displayed on every page. So you could optimize for add to carts with the new pixel. In that case, you only want the cart action code to be showing on cart.liquid. That is the Shopify theme file that controls the cart page. Same for your checkout box. When you're on settings, checkout in your Shopify backend, you can paste in your conversion script. That's where you want to paste in the purchase action. You don't want the view content action there, because that's just redundant. You want to have the actual purchase thing there. So that's where you're able to optimize your ads for different metrics or different actions, assuming you've installed it correctly. So yeah, that's a necessity. I believe on my YouTube channel there's a nice video on how to install the new pixel, and it involves basically copying and pasting in 3 spots. So save your money. You don't need Trackify. Basically, copy and paste 3 things, and you completely replace the need for Trackify, and you can save your money and not pay, what is it, $15 a month or something like that. I mean, just no need to be doing that. Moving on, do I have any videos on how to create a free plus shipping store? I think I answered that already, didn't I? Can you explain how to start your research? Oh, okay, this is a duplicate question. I know it probably differs per ad campaign, but wondered if there's a standard way you are setting them up for Mark. I'm doing every single ad to start with. I'm doing a website conversion photo post ad. I'm using the Power Editor, and I have a great video in my group in terms of walking you through. It's a 2-minute video just to show you how easy it is to create a website conversion photo post ad. But yeah, I'm doing that. I know some people talk about bidding strategies, manual or automatic. I'm a big fan of simplicity. I'm not going to change it. I'm doing auto bidding, starting with $5. I'm going to start scaling, as soon as I start getting data based on my scaling rules. But there's nothing crazy that you need to worry about. You're just going to set up a website conversion photo post, $5 a day. Put your interest group in there in terms of your targeting, and make your post, and that's it. I don't need to go crazy with the options. I'm pretty much leaving everything standard. Are you aware if Amazon is changing the way they do business? I noticed a complete clothing store being advertised on Amazon's Canadian site. I think you might be referring to them entering the space in terms of t-shirt print on demand, kind of like a Teespring or a T-Launch. They're not major players yet. They probably will be because they're Amazon, and if they want to get into it, they will. But I'm not aware of anything urgent that you need to be checking out Amazon for. I think they have some big issues. For me, most namely, they only do monthly payouts, so I'm not trying to wait 30 days to get my money. It's a big cash flow business on Shopify and on the t-shirt platform. So why would I give that up just to go on Amazon? So I don't think that they're relevant at this point. Maybe in the future. Obviously, they have an infinite amount of money to spend on making this service good if they want. So we'll see how it goes. What's the typical wait for customers to receive their products? And that's from Les. I say that it's for free plus shipping products, 3 to 4 weeks. And, they have, you need to be upfront about that or they're going to get really upset. Answering that other question about people getting PayPal disputes, there's really no way around it. If they're going to get upset, they're going to get upset. It's just kind of the growing pains. I've never said that free plus shipping is your 10-year business model. It's just in there for you to figure out where the buyers are coming from, and then you can really phase that out. So don't worry about it. You have the growing pains, you deal with them. You have the headaches, you deal with them, and then eventually you phase out the free plus shipping. Tracy, great question. Do you have a recommendation for t-shirt sourcing? Absolutely. I can honestly say that the guys behind ThreadMeUp are genuinely good guys. They have great support. They have great quality. The app is great. They're making updates on it every week pretty much. So I certainly recommend ThreadMeUp. Message me on Facebook, this to anyone. If you want to get in on the ThreadMeUp app, message me. I'll make sure that you get in with the best account rep and make sure they set you up and take good care of you. So I've been loyal to them for a while. They've been loyal to me. A great company to work with. So I definitely recommend ThreadMeUp. Let's see where else. What do you think of entering niches that others are already doing well? How to determine if one is saturated? I don't think there's any saturated niche really. Facebook is so big. 10 of us could run the exact same product, and if we hit the targeting right, we'll all probably make money. So I think that the good thing about these quote-unquote saturated niches is that there are buyers there, so you kind of don't need to answer the question about whether or not people will buy in this niche. Oftentimes, also you can find what products are already working. So there's advantage of kind of going where the money already is. Where did I find my current designer? I found one from 99 Designs. I found one from referral. 99 Designs has a lot of good people on there for sure. They're a little bit more expensive, but if you spend the time, you'll find the right type of person. And when you find a good designer, absolutely do not give him up or give her up. Make sure you're treating them well. With t-shirts, what do you do to avoid copyright issues? What type of research do you do? Do you see good t-shirts and change them somehow? From Jeffrey Altmaier. If it's even questionably copyright infringement, then you need to stay away from it. There's no doubt about that. What type of research do I do on the t-shirt side? I'm looking for things like memes and posters and things that get shared a lot on Facebook, on Pinterest. I'm looking at other products that have some social signals in terms of, on Pinterest, a lot of repins or likes or shares or retweets, whatever. In the t-shirt space, this is always a controversial topic, but there are only so many designs out there. So am I saying go and copy someone's design pixel for pixel? Absolutely not. And someone did that to me. That's why I left Teespring, and this is a few years ago. And it sucked to see someone making a lot of money off of your own design. So absolutely don't copy someone's pixel for pixel design. Can you be inspired by designs and make them better? Absolutely. And Teespring themselves said that that's okay. So that's just how it is. Don't copy pixel for pixel, but definitely get inspired. Rachel, hi there. I would love if Justin could cover trademarked and licensed products. What's the difference? Do we need a reseller's letter for trademarked items on AliExpress? AliExpress is not at all licensed. The difference between trademarked and licensed products is really, it's a semantic type thing. We're calling trademarked items, we're really talking about trademark infringement items. And those would be the ones like Harry Potter and Minnie Mouse necklaces on AliExpress. I mean, don't even think about selling those. I mean, that's don't do it. There's no reason to be selling that kind of stuff. Licensed products would still be, could still be a Harry Potter or a Minnie Mouse necklace, but it's absolutely guaranteed not to be found on AliExpress. This is where it's a legitimate distributor who has a license to sell the products, license direct from the trademark holder. This is where they're going to basically pass over a license to you or grant you the same rights that their license has for you to sell the product. So a follow-up question that I've seen: if you get a license from someone to sell their products, that doesn't mean you're now able to sell these AliExpress products. Those products are they're always infringing, whether or not you have a license from someone else or not. No one on AliExpress has a license, at least no one's selling from China. So the difference is, one is trademark infringement and the other one is legitimate license. In terms of what you need in terms of a letter, some distributors do it differently. Most of them just kind of, when you accept their terms, they you basically agree that they'll grant you the license. And that what that means can be any number of things. They'll forward you a document. They'll send you nothing and just kind of send you something when you need it. It differs from place to place. Let's see. What were some challenges that I had starting out? I didn't know. I couldn't figure out how to scale, and I think I left a lot of money on the table. I know that's a good problem to have. That I needed to scale Winders, but that was definitely something that really took my business to the next level. Starting out, I think it's the same issues I was referring to about not being organized with testing, not knowing when a niche is worth sticking around or not. And niches, it's all about niches. You need to have, when you find a niche, you stick with it, you live with it forever. It's going to make you tons of money when you start dominating a niche. So it's all about finding that niche. But the most important thing that you could do is test a niche efficiently and not waste money on niche that you just can't sell to. What else do we have here? Yeah, these are some great questions, guys. Definitely, if you have any final questions, post them up. We're nearing the hour mark here. We'll go a little bit over. We got a question from Stephanie McGuire. Hey, how's it going, Stephanie? Hey, Justin, great talking with you. Do you ever scale back when an ad levels out? Yeah, absolutely. So on my scaling rules, like I said, I plot these out beforehand, and I'm making combinations for all different scenarios. So let's say I scale up to $50, and I sell, and I'm making $10 on each product, right? $10 margin, $50 budget. I spend $50. I wake up the next morning and I only sold 2. I lost money, so I'm absolutely going down. Now the thing about what I do is I'll only go down one level, so I'll only go down to what I was at the day before. The reason why is I feel like when I scale according to my rules, I'm very confident that I only scale when I really deserve to. So on the same flip side, I'm not going to lose all of that work, that quote-unquote hard work that made me deserve to scale. I'm not going to lose all that just because I had one bad day. So I'll scale back to one level below, but I'm certainly, scaling to me means up or down, so definitely if an ad starts turning negative, you need to start going down on it. Let's see what else. Richard, ThreadMeUp does have an app on Shopify. It's called Fulfill. So check out threadmeup.com. But like I said, message me if you're interested in them, and I'll point you in the right direction with the the best setup there. But yeah, they're doing a little bit of a rebranding right now, so it's just under a different name. But yeah, they have a real good app. Dan, can I use the old pixel and the new pixel at the same time? Yeah, absolutely. No reason you can't. I'm doing that. It just basically depends on, you can only optimize your ad for one pixel, but there's no reason that you can't have both installed on your site. Basically what that does is, let's say you're optimizing for your old pixel, at least you're still letting the new pixel build up data. So that's good. And Dan, yeah, hiking and camping, it's a good niche. I think you might agree. Let's see, what else do we have? Have you seen your cost per conversion or ad costs increase, and how do you deal with this? Tyler, it's a good question. When you raise your budget, without a doubt, your ROI is going to go down. So, I mean, that means your cost per acquisition is going to go up. How do you combat that? It's going to actually, my answer will surprise you. It's spend more money. So if your ROI is 500% and you spend $5 a day, you get to walk away with a huge profit of $25. Let's say your budget is $200 a day and you only have 50% ROI, so 4 times less. Oh no, I'm sorry. What was that? 10 times less ROI, right? It's 10 times less ROI, but you spend $200, you're walking away with $50 profit. So it's okay that your ad costs will increase as long as you're scaling your ad. You know, when you're at, I mean, on the flip side, if you're not making sales and your ad costs increase, then you don't have a profitable ad. You need to just turn it off. I mean, there's no magic bullet for that. But I would not be concerned about my cost per acquisition going up as long as I'm spending more. Remember, ROI is all relative. So you want to have. I'd rather have a higher spend with a lower ROI than a lower spend with a higher ROI. Hopefully that makes sense. Rick, sounds like it would be best to hire someone to install the new pixel. I mean, I think my video is super clear. I would tell you to give that a shot. What's my YouTube channel? If you guys are having trouble finding it, it's a good question. I'm not sure what my URL is. I'm gonna grab it here. I'll post it in this. I'll definitely post it on my group as well. Hey, if you guys aren't in my group, you're definitely missing out. I answer as many questions as possible. It's obviously completely free. A lot of great conversation is happening there. So definitely join there. I just sent in this questions box here. I just sent the URL. See if I could also put it in the chat for my YouTube channel. So check those videos out. They're going to be super helpful to you. Let's see, where did I leave off at? Okay. What were some of the challenges? We got that one. When we go to pixel upload. Yeah, I got some feedback in here. I'm glad that the pixel video is a good one. Definitely, I think it's the most clear one out there. Is there a way around having to use Facebook call to action on a clicks to website conversion ad? On a website conversion ad, you don't need to use it if you make it a photo post. So when you actually go in there and you create the dark post, it doesn't, you go in there and you click, what do you click? I forgot exactly what you click in there, but the way that you make a dark post, when you press that plus button, that's going to just be a normal post that you're promoting attached to a website conversion ad. So you don't need to use that call to action thing. On a clicks to website thing, there's no way of getting around it. That's just how the ad objective is set up. I'm going to run through these quicker as we're running out of time. So Ashley, how many people are you trying to target when you're starting your testing in a niche? How big of a pool is required to get results? I want to test at least 3 different interest groups. With that, I want to do no more than 300,000. I'm looking for 75 to 300,000 as my starting interest group size. And that to me is because on a website conversion ad, I want to make it as easy as possible for Facebook to find the subsection of this audience that they think is going to perform the best. And obviously, it's going to be easier for them to do that on a 300,000 size audience as opposed to a 30 million size audience. So I think smaller is better. Again, this is just for testing purposes when we start a niche. There's no reason why we can't go with larger audiences later on. But to start off, I want the test to be pretty small. Another question about t-shirt supplier. I'm going to reiterate, thread me up, message me on Facebook if you want to get in with them. I'll give you 100 reasons why they're the best, and I don't think anyone compares to them in terms of service right now. Norman, where do I find t-shirt designers? Like I mentioned this, Upwork and 99 Designs, Craigslist, you can even find them. how many different interest groups should you have per ad set? Just one interest group per ad set. You don't want to contaminate. You don't want to cross-contaminate them. You know, if you're going to advertise the magazine interest group, you have one ad set for that interest group. Rick, does Custom Cat compare well to Thread Me Up? I don't think so because when I tried to use them, their app was just not working. So I don't believe that it compares at all. I'm not considering them. I know that they're just trying to undercut everyone, but eventually they'll have to raise their prices again. So I don't know how long that deal will last. Richard, if you make a Game of Thrones shirt, will it be an issue? I don't see why it wouldn't be an issue. I mean, that's definitely trademark infringement now. I mean, we've all seen the popular shirts, Walking Dead shirts and stuff like that. Just because other people are doing it doesn't mean that they're, that it's okay to do. So, I can't stop you from doing it. I can certainly recommend that you don't do it. Do I know that the rights holders of Game of Thrones are going to come and sue you and take you for everything you own? I have no idea. That's probably not so likely, but why put yourself in that position? Tyler, so you are starting out with free plus shipping AliExpress item before you advertise a T-shirt. Would the same people that buy a free plus shipping necklace buy a T-shirt? I found that they do. Yeah, buyers are normally buyers. You're going to be putting product out there that is going to resonate with them because you're hitting them in terms of their interests. So that's how I base all my testing on that. I make the assumption that if they're going to buy anything, free plus shipping or not, that they're going to continue to buy. Yes, it is easier to sell a free plus shipping item in terms of a lower cost per acquisition, but I could afford a higher cost per acquisition when I'm dealing with a full price product. Another question from Les. In selecting a niche, would it be good to do pets in general so you have a bigger market, or would it be better to do separate, one for dog, one for cat? Again, dogs are a special example. You could go even as far down as just a breed of dogs, but pets, in my opinion, would be too big. Dog would be a nice one. Like I said, dog breeds would still be a nice one because it's so big. Cat would be a nice one, but pets in general would be too big. Other examples of good niches would be job titles like nurse, teacher, interests like scrapbooking or yoga, whatever. Rick, that video might be private, so send me a message on Facebook and I could just send it to you. I do have some private videos, obviously, for my coaching students, so not everything is on there. Do I have replays to my previous webinars? Yeah, I think that they should be on my YouTube channel too. I don't know. I think that might be a hidden link. I'll post up my webinar replay links in the group. I'll post out where to get this webinar replay as well, so you guys can all have that probably come by the end of the week. So would it make sense to add t-shirts to a, I don't know what that word, L running store, maybe you typoed there. Would it make sense to add t-shirts to a running Shopify store? Do you mean running the niche? Yeah, I think so. Do you mean an already running store? Then yeah, I definitely think. I mean, t-shirts should be added to every store, really, in my opinion. There's almost every niche is going to buy a t-shirt, so I think it's definitely important to have. Pollen management, great question. How important is it to optimize your Shopify store for mobile? It's incredibly important. It's something you couldn't even consider turning on your ads if your store is not fully optimized for mobile. Luckily, the most popular free themes, Brooklyn, Launchpad, Minimal, they all look awesome on mobile. They work for all mobile devices, so you're good to go if you use one of those. I've seen some Theme Forest themes that are just awful on mobile. I'm getting 80% traffic mobile on mobile/tablet. So you could imagine that your conversion rate would just crash and suffer if your site is not optimized for mobile. So super important. Is ThreadMeUp better than using Teespring? Yeah, I definitely. I mean, I couldn't stress they're night and day difference. So even if you are still selling on a platform, ThreadMeUp is by far the best platform as well. So not only do they have, in my opinion, the best app, but they're the best platform. Bottom line is you'll make the most money on there. So, why go anywhere else? ThreadMeUp is going to just give you the best margins. So I'm going to give a last call for questions here. There's only a couple more that I'm going to run through, and any more that come up. But definitely send off any other questions. Just to reiterate, I don't really have anything to sell you, to be honest. Just kind of a question and answer kind of thing. I'm going to post the replay in my group. Make sure you guys check out my channel for other videos. Subscribe to my YouTube channel so you guys can get a lot of videos. Like I said, I keep some videos only to subscribers and only to coaching members. So make sure that you're subscribed so you get those. Otherwise, it was great. Great having you guys here. I think I want to do this, if not every week, at least a couple times a month. So keep badgering me in the group to keep doing these. They're always worthwhile. Glad you guys enjoyed it. Chris, Dan, for sure. Marie, you're very welcome. Thank you guys for submitting the questions. Now that I'm actually looking at it, it looks like all of the questions are a bit redundant that haven't been answered. So we kind of covered everything. So unless you guys have anything in there, Norman, Rick, Les, thank you, Rick, Jeffrey, for sure. This was hopefully this was helpful for you guys. Again, if you are looking for that Thread Me Up or Fulfill app, just message me and I'll send you in the right direction. Otherwise, it was great talking to you guys, and have a good night.